If you want to become a better writer, one of the best ways, in my opinion, is to study very closely the sentences of professional writers. So I am a print journalist and editor, and I have been for about 13 years. But I came from a technology background, and so when I transitioned over to journalism, I didn't do any formal training, but I did. I always read a lot, but I started paying really close attention to how professional writers, book writers, structured their sentences, and I would read them out loud and hear how they sounded. And I also found benefit in typing them out because then you get a good feel for how they're made. And so I started actually recording them and writing them on my website. But I created an online database so that I could open it up to other people who were also interested in improving their writing and interested in sentences. In particular, the first and last sentences of a book, which I think are typically the strongest sentences and the ones that the authors put the most work into making sure they are memorable. And so this is the website I created. It's called firstandlast.com, first-and-last.com. And as you can see, there are 354 entries so far in the database. So if you come here, if you want to add sentences, that you can log in and register. But if you just want to browse the sentences and learn from what's already in there are a few ways you can do that. So you can click on 3 random entries, and it will go and fetch 3 books from the database, and it will show you the name of the book, the author's name, the first sentence, the last sentence of the book, and finally who added it, which user added it to the database. You want to click on 3 more. Here we go, and you can see, and you can keep going if you wanted to. Another way would be to look at the full list. So this fetches the titles only at first of all the books in the database and brings them in alphabetical order. So you can browse down, and if you're interested in one, you can click on it. It'll open up that entry only. It'll show you the same thing, the author's name, the first sentence of the book, the last sentence of the book, and who added it. You can also search the database for a specific book, and if it's there, it will show it to you. So I'll search for, say, Lonesome Dove, one of my favorite books, and it'll fetch that book from the database. If it's not there, obviously it won't find it, but if it's there, it will find it. Now, another way you could have for fun, if you wanted to, was to it is a quiz. So what the quiz will do is it'll select a random entry from the database and give you 3 book title options for you to guess where it came from. So for example, in this book, this is a book I've read, so I know what the answer is, and it has the word freaks in it, and the freaks in the title. So I click on it, it says correct, and also tells me right here that I have 1 correct answer in a row. So I can try again. So this one as well, I think I know. This is a book I have. So I got that one right. So now it says I have 2 correct answers in a row. This is a true story. The book is actually called True Story. I read that one as well. 3 in a row. So so I know the answer to this one as well. I mean, a lot of these books are books I've read, but I'm going to get it wrong just to show you what happened. So it says I have 3 in a row. I'm going to say Friday Night Lights for this one. That is wrong. It says sorry, guess again. I'll say writing for story, also wrong. And then I'll say rabbit is rich, which is the answer. And I'll say correct, and now I'm back to 1 in a row. So that could be something just for fun if you wanted to test your knowledge of sentences of the books that were in this database. Now, if you actually wanted to put some sentences in, that would be great because I'm trying to grow this database. You can register. Now, as you can see from the top, this is not a secure website, so don't put anything personal information in there. You can just make up a random username and a random password. Password is encrypted, so I can't see it, but you can just do that, and then you can log in with your username and password and start adding things. So I'm going to just do a random one, so I'll just say John Smith, and I'll just put in a easy password that I'll remember. So yeah, and then I'll submit it. So now I'm registered and can log in as John Smith. So I'll log in. and I won't save it. So now I'm logged in, and as you can see, it's going to give me to the ads. I get a new option on the menu called Add Sentences. So I have a book I wrote out, a famous book called 1984 by George Orwell. So I have the book open here. This is often what I do is I'll have the book after I finish reading it, and I'll open it up and enter it into the database. And at first I like to read the sentence out loud, because that's the whole point, is to kind of learn from getting familiar with the sound and structure of these sentences. So the first sentence of 1984 is, "It was a bright cold day in April, and the clocks were striking 13. So then I type it in. It was a bright cold day in April, and the clocks were striking 13. So I don't cut and paste the sentences in from websites, because the whole point is to manually type them in and kind of learn, from doing that. Now the last sentence, I don't had to look up the last sentence of 1984 because it's one of the most famous last sentences of any book probably, which is, "He loved Big Brother." It's a very sad ending, but a good sentence, good short, strong sentence nonetheless. So I click submit. It says thanks for contributing. Now if I go back to the full list and I scroll down to the ends, the book is there, 1984 by George Orwell. It was a bright cold day in April and the clocks were striking 13. He loved Big Brother. Added by John Smith. So if any of you want to log in and play around and add things, that would be great. Add things from books that aren't already in the database. You can search for it first, and if you try to enter a title that's already in there, it will tell you that it's already there. If you would like to read more about why I created this database and some of my thoughts on writing and how to learn writing and how to improve your writing, I wrote an article for a publication called Free Code Camp, which described also how I created the app, but there's also sections on writing and why I created it. It's called How I Built an App That Showcases the First and Last Sentences of Great Novels. It has a pretty long URL, but I'll put that in the description. And if you want to read more of my writing or see some of my other programming projects, you can go to my personal website, which is rogercollier.com. And under technology writing here, you'll see some of the other ones, including the one about the app. So back to here. Thank you for watching, and please log in, register, and contribute, and help people who are interested in improving their writing. Help contribute and add a resource that they can use. Thank you.